Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Going for Three podcast. Not really much of an episode, but just a real quick, brief discussion on the NFL draft. The first round just completed about a few minutes ago, more or less. And just going to talk about a few of the picks in the first round and some winners and losers. Some teams might have did the right thing with their picks, some teams might not have. But as always, I forgot to do all that. With me as always, we got Tony, aka G, and we got Chris, also known as AOB, the Advocator of Bucket. How we doing, fellas?
I was wow, what a wild few hours, man.
Yeah.
Phew, that was crazy. But I appreciate y'all holding it down, and I apologize to the audience for the delay in an episode. I've been dealing with some medical stuff, so that's on me. But the fellas held it down and gave me the space I needed to kind of like get my shit together, and should be all right. But
Hey, as always, man, the health comes first when it comes to stuff like that.
yeah, I'm not getting any younger.
Yeah. But
Sometimes I forget I'm an old man. But
but guess we can kind of go through like at least as far as like highlighting the first round, like not all of them, probably like the first 10, because after that he kind of gets a little
I mean,
wild.
if you wanted to like quick list them all real quick, I don't care. Do that.
Yeah. But I guess we can start from the top. The Jaguars, who their pick was all over the place from the beginning of the draft, like months prior to even the day of, they ended up taking Trayvon Walker, defensive end out of Georgia. Um, what's you guys' thoughts? Did you think they nailed the pick, or could it be a reach?
I'm not surprised. Especially in more recent days, him being talk of it. I mean, he's a really good player. Kind of a 1 year wonder. Hopefully, it translates over. But I mean, talent wise, he's a beast, and Jags need all the help they can get. So no issue there.
Yeah,
Well, I have a slight issue with it. I think this is a perfect example of NFL scouts and teams, getting too cute, getting too fancy for their own good. There were two more proven commodities at the same position on the board, and they reached for someone. I mean, I, I don't know. It didn't make sense to me. I mean, I'm not saying that he won't turn out to be a good player and that he can't be, but it's just like it was an unnecessary risk when you have two, like I said, more guaranteed commodities at that position. You know what I mean? Like Aiden was right there. I don't understand. I don't understand how they got to the conclusion that he was better than him, or even that he was better than Kayvon. But none of my business.
yeah. It's most definitely like the shocker because hearing that he moved up and everything already was kind of a big deal to some people because of the combine, and just shows how much the combine matters to, I guess, most of these combine scouts. So
It's giving Mitch Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson early on.
I don't know if it's
I'm not saying
that.
he's gonna. I'm not saying he's
I
gonna.
mean,
I mean,
that's
that's just how it is. Like it. I'm not. I mean, we're only saying that because we've seen how their careers have panned out, and obviously Mitch was in a worse situation.
yeah,
But it's just like you had two more proven from one standpoint had the wins and the team success, and from the other standpoint you just had the crazy like physical tools. And I can
yeah,
compare that because it's like Aiden like has the individual success, the crazy motor. Kayvon has like all the physical tools. You know what I mean? Like, and they take Trayvon, who, like I said, can be a great player, but I think it's more of a risk. It's more likely that he doesn't end up turning out to be that. It just doesn't make sense to me personally, but
yeah,
we'll see.
yeah. It will definitely be the player to watch as far as whether or not they will in the long term be reaping the benefits of it. Um, Number 2, we got my team, Detroit Lions, and we selected Aiden Hutchinson. Once again, went to Michigan. I might just go first on this one. Me personally, over the stretch of these few days leading up to the draft, I didn't really want him as much anymore. I kind of was ready to settle for Kayvon, even though throughout the whole process it was the latter. Um, like you said though, he has a high motor, broke records at Michigan, got us out the mud college wise because we weren't really making no bowl games. So I don't thought he would be a good player, but I feel like Kayvon probably could have been something we missed out on.
I mean, I think he's as long as he buys in, which could be a question. I think he fits the culture.
Yeah,
He's a
most
tough,
definitely.
gritty player. That's exactly what you're looking for, and he certainly needs the help there. So that's position. So I don't have a problem with it.
Hmm.
Same. I don't have an issue with it. Like I said,
He's
I
a,
mean,
he's a
he should have
he's a
been.
Dan Campbell player for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, should be interesting on that one. Number
Yeah,
3.
one of the best players in the draft. Him or Kayvon.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, it should have been the first pick. So yeah, nothing really to say about that besides that.
Hmm. Yeah. Then number 3 started to get a little different. Still one a little, just like a little shaky. Derek Stingley Jr., the corner at LSU, goes to the Houston Texans. Pretty big shocker, I'd say.
Yeah, quite a big one. Yeah. I don't really know what to say there. It's kind of I mean, I'm not saying he's not a good football player or won't be a good football player, but the injury, he hasn't played a lot the last couple of years. To go, then maybe they see something I don't. I think just seems like a hell of a reach. When you had Ahmad Gardner there, that's a hell.
Yeah.
So
I think that his draft stock was raised tremendously by the NFL success of certain receivers that he ended up going against in practice. I feel like
I
him
mean,
going
that's a
against
fair point. That's a fair point.
Jamar and it being documented that he was successful in a lot of those battles. I feel like that kind of raises his stock a little bit, and they're hoping to just leave the injuries in the past. So
Oh yeah, the
that's what
team.
I got
He's
from that.
got he's definitely the talent there. He definitely has all the tools. It's
Yeah. But he's also one of the few players, along with another one that went in like the top 15, that coming off an injury, you kind of worry about would you take them as high, knowing that the recovery process could be extended. But the talent is gonna be there with that guy. So
you know.
Houston gets a dog nonetheless. Uh, Speaking of dogs though, 4th pick, Sauce Gardner, cornerback out of Cincinnati, is going to the Jets. Probably the first steal of the night.
But I mean, a home run pick for the Jets. Number one corner out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it a steal because we're still in top 5, but
Well,
definitely
yeah.
great pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe like
Good corner, a top corner. His
yeah,
college production was crazy, so yeah.
yeah. And plus, I mean, kind of like what I was like texting it to people earlier. The two most pro ready corners ended up going 3 and 4 in my opinion. So, but they couldn't go wrong with either if you swap them out even. So, right next we got Kayvon Thibodeau, defensive end out of Oregon, going to the Giants. We'll be thinking with that one.
Great get
Talent.
for them. Great get for them.
Yeah.
Mm.
And their defense is not bad. So, I mean, it looks like going into the season. I mean, certainly, I don't know about their offense, but their defense is going to keep them in games. Now, I still don't see them any higher than probably. I mean, honestly, we'll get to the rest of it. They're still probably the last place in the division, but their defense will keep them in games. They'll be competitive, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just talent. That's my main thing about him. I think he's one of the most talented in the draft. I think a lot of questions came up out of bullshit. A lot of it seems like every year there's always a couple guys that just quote unquote issues or problems arise that don't really matter at all. And I think he was one of those guys. So yeah, they'll be happy with him. And
Yeah.
at 6, I think that was pretty generous.
Hmm. All right. After that, Ika Mikwanu, offensive tackle from NC State, ends up in Carolina. Linemen are always going to, most of the linemen are going to be pretty high. A lot of people probably would have assumed Evan Neal would have been the first lineman off the board, but Mikwanu, for his
Yeah.
size, is very agile. One of the more agile linemen in the class. Um, Panthers really do bolster their line, which means that I don't know if that shows that they have like faith in Darnold or if tomorrow is when they pull the trigger on a quarterback.
I mean, could be there. I mean, Baker's out there. They definitely needed the help on the line. I mean, Icky can play both tackle positions if they need it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
would have
I
thought
mean,
Neil. I would have thought Neil would have been the one, but I mean, it's not a bad pick at all. So
yeah, I think it's a good pick. I mean, I like that they stuck to their guns and not, and decided not to reach for a quarterback. Because if they took a quarterback at 6, whoever it would have still been a reach just from the overall talent of the quarterback pool. So, yeah. Uh, and like
Mm.
Graham said, I mean, I would have went with Neil, but I mean, I don't think it's a bad pick. It may turn out to look worse in years coming when you could have taken Neil, but we'll see.
yeah, I mean, it's just because Neil's in the sense that Neil's more versatile because he literally played both tackle positions at a fair number of snaps at both tackle positions where Icky didn't. So if
Yeah.
they want to put him at like right tackle, he didn't really play right tackle. So there might be a bit of an adjustment for him. But
Yeah.
still not a bad shape.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of split into the Evan Neal Giants pick. I do agree with most of the things as far as being a guy that can play both tackles. Where when you look at like something like a Panay Sewell, where he was a left tackle strictly at Oregon, and then when you get to the league, you have to switch to right. Your numbers might look a little shaky because it's not really a position that you played before. But with him being that versatile, the Giants could literally, even in next year's class, if they take another guy and say he's predominantly left or right, he's interchangeable.
Yep.
So long term, he'll probably be. I feel like he might be the best lineman in this class. With Ickham being as talented as he is, but I feel like Evan Neal is probably be the long term guy.
Yeah, sure. He's a 12, 13 year starting tackle on in barring injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, that's just adds to the craziness that was been tonight. So I mean, it's on brand for the evening.
All right, what's next? Number 8 had the Atlanta Falcons taking Drake London, wide receiver out of USC. Probably wasn't. Well, I know he was like first because of the size and his play after the catch ability, but probably would have been the first receiver that I would have taken. But for as far as like for Atlanta with the whole Calvin Ridley being suspended thing and just not having that many targets at all, I feel like Drake London's a good fit with Kyle Pitts and that offense.
Yeah, I don't. I think Wilson probably would have been better, but I mean, they absolutely needed somebody. So no issue there. He's a big body. I just don't see obviously the Falcons offense just won't be able to push the ball downfield with this, but
Hmm.
certainly hit a need there, and he's a good player, very talented. So I mean, I think Wilson would have been a better fit, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they talked about all his pros when he was drafted. I feel like I didn't see them to the extent that they were speaking on. Like the smooth route running and the yards after catch. I mean, I feel like I wasn't as high on that as they were. I mean, definitely a big body, big target, can make a lot of contested catches. But I agree, he wouldn't have been.
maybe that's what they're thinking is that if after this year they get Ridley back, like London could be like a poor man's Julio, and it fits their offensive scheme.
I just don't. I don't see that in any form or fashion. It's like a poor man's Julio would.
Well, so, I mean, a bigger receiver who goes
No,
up
I
and gets
get that,
contested
but I'm
catches
saying
and all that.
but like Julio wasn't just a big body. You know what I mean? Like that's Julio was like a perfect receiver. Had great quickness, great speed, great routes, elite hands. Drake to me he just feels like a big body who can make contested catches. I don't see that at all. But I could be wrong. I mean he's also bigger, like way taller than Julio.
Yeah,
But
he's like,
I don't see it. We'll see. He wouldn't have been my first receiver.
yeah.
No,
He's like what, 6'3", 6'4"?
6'5".
Oh, 6'5".
6'5".
Oh yeah, yeah. So I mean, yeah. Should be interesting to see how it goes out with because I mean they're also probably another another day two team to see like if they try to like not reach for the quarterback, take him on day two because Mariota as their starter kind of seems a little odd, but
they're just going to be bad.
yeah, either way. So okay, Charles Cross, the offensive tackle out of Mississippi State, goes to Seattle. Much needed because Seattle after after all the moves they did, even after taking Stone Forsythe, who they thought was going to be good and turned out to be horrible. Um, they need line protection for just not even just even if they had Russell Wilson, just anybody overall.
Yeah, whoever's the quarterback. It's just ironic now that they do it after they trade Russ, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a need pick. I mean, finally, you know,
yeah, must definitely fill the hole.
or
Yeah, I mean he I think he's more of a pass blocker than a run blocker, and Pete likes to run, so we'll see how the fit works. But I mean it's a
yeah.
need.
Hmm. But right. Well, at least as far as like the last pick, that we'll probably just analyze because eventually we'll cover that at a later date. We'll cover the rest after that at a later date. Garrett Wilson, wide receiver out of Ohio State, goes to the New York Jets. Um, like I said earlier, probably like one of the best receivers in the class, if not the best receiver in the class. Goes to a team that got Zach Wilson, Elijah Moore. Pretty interesting offense they building over there.
Corey Davis, yeah. I mean, the Jets had a good night. That's really not much else you can say there. They just had a really good night.
Yeah,
Yeah, great pick. Like you said, arguably the best receiver in the class. I think between him and Chris Olave, they both have strengths over the other, but they're both good at honestly the main things that count. So yeah, great pick.
hmm. Should be really interesting to see what they do. Um, yeah. So anything really past like 11, it'll get covered eventually. Like it's like a at the end of like a cumulative winners and losers. But as far as for round one, kind of just looking at what everybody's done for this night specifically, who would you guys have as the winning team? Like made the best decisions with their picks, and a team that you feel could have done more with their picks.
Griff, you can go
Um,
first.
all right, I'll give a couple real quick for us.
Well,
I,
one winner and one loser.
Yeah,
one, okay.
yeah.
Um, damn, toss up. 'Cause I think two teams did really. Um, Giants.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I didn't think Thibodeau would fall that far. Honestly, um, phenomenal pick for them. The defense is already good, greatly improved. And then Evan Neal, probably the best offensive line in this draft, the most versatile, plays multiple positions, probably make 7, 8, 9 Pro Bowls, played 12, 13 years barring injury. I mean, I am no Giants fan, obviously, but I mean, phenomenal picks. Loser. I mean, I don't. I'm going to pick this team because I don't think either one of you will. I'm going to say Steelers.
Hmm.
I figured all the way, like most people did, that they were going to go quarterback, possibly even trade up. I figured Malik Willis, especially with Trubisky there, like he might need a year, or Trubisky was terrible. He could get some play time mid-season, later in the season, you know, learn the game, and then they went with Pickett, who I don't hate. I just think Willis should have been the pick there. I don't like it. It just seems like a status quo pick to not like diversify or change their offense to anything any different than what they were running. Because he's kind of a, Big Benish kind of a quarterback. I just didn't like it. It didn't. They don't seem to be evolving offensively, and they need to do that, and this is not how you do it. So, boo. So,
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
want to go, Chris?
Yeah. PTP, you can go ahead. I'll go last.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, as far as winners for the night, I might go ahead and scan back real quick.
Well, just pick one because we don't know we're only gonna pick one.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm not gonna pick my own team because I mean that was just.
I mean, if you feel like they're a winner, pick your own team.
Yeah. I'm gonna do it. All right. So, no homer bias aside, just literally what I think. Lions definitely did end on a brighter note, more than I would have expected. In my opinion, the Jaguars held our pick just as much as they held theirs. As far as if they took Walker, then Aiden would move down, vice versa. Aiden then Kayvon. In the long run, I feel like Aiden will be a steal. Went to Michigan, is from here, so should be a real long-term bond if it all works out well. And then trading back up into like the top 15 to get a Jameson Williams, who granted is coming off the ACL, was a lot of picks involved to move up to get him. But in the long run, when you look at the receiving core, we signed Chark on a one-year deal. We got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who came off a really good rookie year as a receiver. Jameson could definitely be either our number 2 or number 3 long term, probably number 2 for the long term. Yeah, I was more or less really really happy when I seen that Jameson was up. I expected to trade back in, but that was just Brad being Brad, and we got a good receiver, a stud even in my opinion.
If you rule out even that Jameson could end up being in the long run, you're number 1.
Oh yeah, long term he definitely, if everything progresses the way it should, and he comes back off the injury, almost even at least like 80% of what we saw at Bama, and even like a little bit even at Ohio State when he played, we should be in for a really really exciting offense in the future. So, and then as far as a loser, most certainly the Packers. Not really because of the people that they picked. Because, I mean, obviously, Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt are very, very good players. But for a team that hasn't drafted a wide receiver in the first round since 2002, and a team that just got rid of Devontae Adams, who was literally like your perennial Pro Bowl receiver for I don't know how many years, you had guys. We had one specific guy right in your face the whole time. You had Pickens right in front of you. And you missed on both picks. You did get Georgia players.
Pickens, Messi, I mean,
yeah,
Watson, any of those guys.
Even Watson, Burks, even like there's a lot of things. Well, I think Burks might have been gone by then. Burks might have been gone. I'm not sure.
They also let Valdez Scantling walk too, so they're definitely down bad when it comes to receiver depth and talent.
Because like even looking at like their depth chart when they showed it, it was like Lazard. It's like I think it's like Lazard, Cobb, Mitch Turner. I don't know who they had.
Amari Rogers. Amari
Yeah,
Rogers.
yeah, it's just a lot of unproven. Well, outside of Cobb, it's a lot of just unproven things on that receiving core. So
Cobb is a little too proven.
yeah,
Yeah,
If you know what I'm saying.
yeah, he's a little
So
long in the tooth.
yeah, a little
he
seasoned.
passed showing you what he got. You didn't see what he got for multiple years. So
Exactly.
defensively, the Packers set themselves up for the greatest not Georgia, the greatest Green Bay Bulldogs assembly of all time after taking Eric Stokes last year. So I mean, defensively they're going to be stout, but
I mean, they're good players. Yeah, they didn't take bums
yeah,
or
it's
reach
like
necessarily.
that's what they reached as far as what they really needed on paper, at least.
Yeah, yeah. It's not who they got; it's who they didn't get.
Yeah. All right, Chris, what you got?
Well, I mean, it's already been talked about, and I'm surprised nobody took it. But I mean, I'm just gonna go straight for it. I mean, the Jets, they had, in my opinion, and I feel like probably Gramps also, maybe, I don't know, the best.
I thought about it. It was too easy. It was too easy.
Yeah,
That's why I
that's fair.
went someone else. It's too easy.
Well, I'm gonna go for that one because it's
Yeah.
right there for me. They had the best day from day one. I mean, you arguably get a wide receiver one. You get a day one, three day one starters. Honestly, more than likely, all
Mhm.
three of these guys are going to be able to come in, immediately start, and provide immediate impact and value, and in places of need, no less. So like they needed more playmaking. They got Wilson, who's a great route runner, great catcher, fast. You needed some help on the pass rush. You got Jermaine Johnson, who at certain points in times has been, considered the best edge at the time for him for his position at times, for depending on who you ask. So like he had an argument with all those guys as well.
And ironically enough, with all
I certainly had him above. Walker. So
Yeah.
I mean, the
and
talent was
ironically
definitely there.
and ironically enough, with all the stuff TTP's been joking about all the Georgia players, he was a Georgia transfer. So I mean,
Yeah, and then you get Sauce. I mean, cornerback, big, strong.
Lockdown.
Ready to come in day one and be a part of that Jets culture of he's trying to establish his own island. But at the end of the day, like I said, so he's trying to establish
the sauce pot. They can call it the sauce pot. Who knows?
But yeah, it's just the fact that they're able to get three highly touted draft picks, all at positions of need, it's a great thing. I mean, and they still have a second round pick. It's right now for the Jets, it's going phenomenally.
Looking up.
Phenomenally. As far as the losers, there was definitely a couple ones. Just in general, I think I'm gonna probably go with a lesser one as well. I'm gonna go with the Titans right now because they drafted Treylon Burks, but you traded AJ Brown, and those are like similar body receivers, and they're hoping Treylon can be what AJ is or turn into what he is right now. But it's just like after seeing the deal that AJ got from the Eagles, which is who he got traded to, it doesn't make sense to me why you wouldn't pay him that money. So like you're trading a proven commodity who's been on an NFL field and young. He's only 24. You're trading him away, and it is revealed to us that it wouldn't have taken that much to get him to sign in the first place. He signed what was it 5 years?
4 for 100,
Yeah,
4 for 100, 57 guaranteed.
Yeah, so 57 guaranteed, 25 million a year, if it's all guaranteed. But it's just like that's very affordable for. I would say teetering on elite. I mean, he's not in the top 10 or anything like that. He's not a top 10 receiver or anything like that to me, but he's very good and he's still very young. So like the ceiling is high. And honestly, I mean, he could have taken another step this year if their whole receiving core wasn't just kind of derailed by injuries in general. So I don't know. I just didn't understand. I just didn't understand the pick. That's not to say that Treylon isn't a good player and that he can't be great, but it just seems like once again a proven commodity was traded away for a lesser known element. You know, like
Yeah, for a question mark in a sense.
yeah, it's just like yeah, and just because and if Burks does end up being good and even better than AJ Brown, I'm still not gonna say it was a wise decision. I'm just gonna say it worked out for you. You know what I mean? Same thing like
Yeah.
with Walker at the top of the draft. Like he could end up being good. He could even end up being better than those two. Still wasn't a wise decision. It just worked out for you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But,
That's who I'm gonna roll with is the Titans.
mm,
Well,
yeah.
on the end of that deal, I was gonna if I would have gotten a second pick, I would have picked the Eagles. So bad, just based on that.
Yeah.
Jordan Davis and fucking trade for AJ.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they did good.
They did
They
great.
did that. They definitely did good.
I ain't scared, but I'm just saying they did well. You can't deny.
Yeah. Sure, even, I mean, like, just real quick, I mean, even as a winner, too, I mean, even it might have been what, like, you might have perceived, Chris, is what they should have done with one of those picks. I mean, the Chiefs had a really good night as well.
No,
Took
they did. I mean,
one of the
they
top corners,
absolutely did.
Karlaftis.
I think anytime that we draft without being influenced,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pointing right at you, Patrick. Anytime we draft without being influenced, we draft well. We have really good players, Pro Bowlers, Hall of Famers, all that good jazz. Great stuff. And I'm sure, those are going to be great picks. But I don't know. It's just what I wanted because I feel like we still have that need at that. Like every time this isn't the first time I felt this way. I felt this way when we took Marcus Peters. We took him. I was like, who? He turned out to be a Pro Bowler. Felt that way when we took Dontari Poe some years ago. I was like, who? Turned out to be a really good player. D Ford, who turned out to be a Pro Bowler. Like it happens a lot. They never take who I want them to take. I mean, I'm not afraid to say it. I wanted Deshaun Watson. I'm not afraid to say it.
Patty,
I
yeah.
thought it was clear. I thought it was clear cut and obvious. You know what I mean? Like, let's take Deshaun. And, we ended up taking Patrick, and here we are. I don't regret it.
Yeah, it's
I
just
think we still would have
drafted
success with.
you drafted quality players at positions of need that were probably greater than the one you wanted, but it's just the one the position you didn't draft was the one everybody else seemed to want. But the bigger need was probably, especially with the way that division's being put together, the biggest needs for the Chiefs are what you drafted. You drafted really, really good players at those positions.
I mean, that really depends on who you ask specifically, because like I feel like depending on who you ask, they could argue that we might have a bigger need at receiver just because of the question marks. You know what I mean? Like, and also because I mean, I guess this is another opinion-based question, but we have 2 second-round picks, so I mean, we could have ideally addressed all of these issues later on, whether it be edge, corner, or receiver. We decided to address the receiver in the later rounds. But I mean, it could have easily been turned the other way around. You know what I mean? So I feel like I don't know.
Are you thinking like they could have? Are you thinking that because say like a George Pickens was still there, like maybe you could have traded back in to the first, or
We could have got
moved
George.
up.
We could have got George with that pick, and then either just let the picks come to us and pick somebody on the edge, or we could have used one of those second round picks, or just a future pick or another pick to move up in the second round and get what's the edge guys that's still available? I forget his name. Yeah, we get somebody like that. Like, there were definitely routes, and there still are routes. I mean, we very well could trade up to get a receiver, whether it be Pickens or Watson, because I mean, I highly doubt that both of them are going to be there by the time we pick in the second round. But I mean, there's still draft isn't over, and we definitely are still very well equipped to address that issue. But you guys know I wanted Pickens. I've been talking about him
Yeah.
for a month now. So that was just a player that I was high on, that I felt was very attainable at our position, and it turned out he was. We just didn't take him. So yeah.
But yeah, so like you said, like round two, right around the corner almost. Well, pretty much is right around the corner. The
Yep.
amount of
Two and
trades there
three.
tonight. Me so what?
2-3.
Yeah,
2-3 tonight. Later tonight.
yeah. It's like with the amount of trades that happened and the teams who actually did trade, round 2 and 3 should be no different. I feel like a lot of teams are gonna be moving back, moving up. A lot of players are gonna fall farther because I did not see Karloftis falling all the way to 20, below 24 even actually. So, but as far as the first round goes, that's it for us.
And,
Like so what?
and, and only one quarterback, which is surprising. So that'll be an interesting run,
Yeah,
possibly, too.
yeah, because
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. Where can you see the next picks? Oh, okay. Round two.
I think Tampa picks first because of the trade.
yeah, Tampa got the first pick of the new round.
Yeah.
Actually, I forgot who is the top 5 left. I think it's I think it was like Ebikide,
Yeah, see,
Malik. I forgot who else they had.
Seattle has two picks in the first 10 of the second round. So I can definitely see them taking a quarterback for sure. Potentially, yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
And maybe in the second round we'll see some love from the only position that didn't get drafted in the first round.
Oh snap! Wait, which position was that?
Oh, yeah.
The running
Oh,
backs.
I'm extremely interested to see where Kenneth Walker goes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So maybe.
Yeah. I'm more just about the tight ends that I think about it. Like I was talking about it earlier.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. Tight ends. Yeah, tight ends didn't get drafted either. So
Yeah, it's like McBride, DeLuch, likely. A Conquo, I think, out of Maryland. There's a lot of tight ends, honestly,
Yeah.
who could make some
Yeah.
waves if they get drafted to the right team.
Could be late second, third round guys. Probably.
Yeah.
cool. That's fair.
I can see the third round being a tight end run, probably.
Yeah, more often times it
Perhaps.
probably would be third. But I think in recent years, it's been like not tight ends. Running backs have gone pretty early in the second, or at least maybe 2 or 3 might go early in the second, depending on the team.
Possibly. I mean, if Seattle wants to run the ball, they need. I mean, they still have Penny, but I don't know how durable he is. Picking a running back might be a bad idea for them with one of those picks.
Yeah. Should even Tampa, honestly, just as like a backup, because
True. That is true.
Got Fournette,
That
might win a double.
is
I mean,
true.
yeah, but I can't see them spending high draft capital on a backup. Like, really, like if they just Leonard Fournette to me is proven if he's healthy, he's all they need as far as like they don't really need to be sharing the backfield. Honestly, I mean, he can run, he can catch. I think he kind of showed that last year when he kind of phased Ronald Jones out of it.
Nah, most
To be
definitely.
honest. Yeah. So I mean, you can really get his insurance or backup late draft or even honestly training camp. To be honest, especially with running backs. I mean, that's why people I feel like or teams are even more hesitant going forward because you can find value running backs all over the place. So unless it's like just like some Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, AP type of talent.
Yeah.
You're not going to see them getting drafted like that, at least early.
But, yeah. Because like shooting McCaffrey was like what top? He was like top 10, top 5 maybe.
Nah, I thought he was. I think he was first round. I don't know if he was top 10. Was he there early? I don't think he was that early. He was definitely first round though for sure.
Yeah, he was round one, pick 8.
Sheesh.
It's crazy to think about though, like round one, pick 8 for a running back. Kind of
That's a
wild.
reach. Yeah, that's a reach because he
Yeah.
wasn't. I didn't think he was going to be what he turned into because his first year wasn't great, honestly.
Yeah.
His first year, I mean, it was more like Darren Sproles, which is good, but not for like a top 10 pick. It wasn't until it was like second and third year where he kind of
Hmm.
really broke out. And I know he like put that extra weight on and stuff like that, but yeah, that was at the time that was definitely a reach. A reach. No
Hmm.
way. Sheesh.
Yeah.
That's hella high.
Nah. But well, actually, another thing that I thought of before we wrap this up, with the other later rounds, yet to happen, round 2 and 3 around the corner. What team or teams would you say like it would be like a sleeper to have like the best draft when it's all said and done? Like, who do you think will like end up with the most well-rounded crop of young talent when it's over?
Besides the teams that we already named,
Yeah, besides those.
I think the Saints, I think can be really nice. I like the moves that they made, especially the first one getting Chris Olave. I think that's a very important move, with or without Mike Thomas. Don't have Drew Brees anymore, so it's like I don't know. They shouldn't be content with just having Mike Thomas and then just a bunch of like supplemental parts. Like, you'd be trying to like really build your well-rounded offense.
Yeah.
So I mean, I like that pick for that. I like the Saints for that. Yeah,
Mm,
I'm just gonna keep it to one.
yeah. Right.
Ooh. Uh, man, that's a tough one. Besides the obvious. Um, um, I don't know where they're going to go with the rest of their picks, but um, because I don't hate their first two picks in the first round, Texans.
Hmm.
Mm, I think if they could get themselves a receiver, get themselves a running back, shore up the defense for the rest of their picks, they come out as looking really nice
Yeah. Yeah.
if they do it. I don't know
Yeah.
if they will, but if they do it, they come out as looking real nice. And then you'd have a good crop of young players. You might have a quarter. They might have their quarterback. I'm not saying they do, but they might, because by the end of the year, Davis Mills was like arguably the best rookie quarterback. So I mean, and if he's not, then you go get your quarterback, but you got a nice core young players. They'll have a ton of cap space.
Yeah. I like. Yeah. Texas. Texas could be a pretty nice one. Pretty interesting.
Depending on what they do, yeah.
Hmm. Now, honestly, I did have a few teams that I was looking at just now, just based off of like who had a pick in the first round. But based off of just the 2 picks that they have, but not even the 2 picks, sorry, just 1 pick that they traded, they swapped with. I feel like the Bills might have a good head on their shoulders when it comes to like what this team needs, as far as like taking Kyer Elam out of Florida, the cornerback, arguably up there as probably like the fourth best corner, maybe even third if you swap out McDuffie. He was a really good corner for Florida, and if that's any indication of kind of like them filling out certain things like their cornerback depth, um, shoot, maybe even some edge rushing, some safeties for the future. Like, so they don't really need much, honestly. But if they're just like,
That's probably the only reason I get a little pushback on that because they're already a pretty stacked roster. They just basically need like depth, and if you
yeah,
get younger at a couple positions, man, they're loaded.
Yeah, because like
So
Poyer and Hyde aren't getting any younger, so I could see them getting like their potential replacements, and then just
could be. Yeah.
stacking up for like when you have guys like White go down with injury, your corners aren't just completely getting like completely torched. But I feel like at the end of it all, like looking at what they in this with, they could have a pretty good nice crop of talent, depending on how much they actually keep of their picks moving forward.
Well, they have the freedom to move around to get who they want at a specific position, just because. So they do have the freedom.
Yeah, like tight end solid, receivers solid, maybe a running back, maybe.
Uh, did they get somebody? Who did they get?
Uh, hmm.
I thought they got somebody. I'm having a big old man brain fart. I thought they got somebody.
Hmm. Shit, I'm looking
I
at it now.
swear they did.
I mean, I
I
know they got
swear
like
they did.
Singletary and stuff, but
Yeah, Singletary and Moss, but didn't seem like they really trusted them.
oh, they got Duke Johnson. Would uh, ah yeah
I mean, he's a reliable pass catcher. I'll give him that.
yeah but yeah. Well, yeah, it could be interesting to see like what they keep and what they don't, what they keep.
They could cut. They could cut. They could cut somebody, and they could draft a running back and cut somebody if they want.
Yeah.
I could see it.
Hmm. But guess that probably wraps up this like little mini first round breakdown. As always, you can follow the podcast on social media, on Twitter at Goon for Three Pod. Know what I'm saying? Get the follows up, and on Instagram, by the way. Instagram, getting into that as well. Where can these fine people find
And
you
our
guys
you
at? Oh, and
and our
YouTube.
YouTube channel and
Yep.
our YouTube channel,
Yep.
which we will be posting content on. We just had some technical difficulties tonight, but we will be posting content there.
Yep.
Uh, follow me at Tony the Real on Twitter.
You can follow me at Chris D. Collins on Instagram and Twitter as well.
And you can find me on Twitter at PTP_99. And just to follow it up earlier with the YouTube, yeah, bunch of tech stuff. But if anything, this probably upload to the
By the
YouTube
way,
channel.
PTP, I think you should change your Twitter name now to the Aiden Hutchinson.
James too.
Yeah, Jameson Williams enthusiast. Yes,
Just swap them
good.
out.
That's on brand. That's on brand. You should do it.
Yeah. Might make some swaps, Next time you look at that page, hey. Might change the profile pic too. But hope you guys are as looking forward to the next few rounds as we are, and we will see you guys next week.